Welcome to the Enter the Mind podcast.
The most real talk, no nonsense podcast on the empowering of the mind.
Why enter the mind? Because it's that room in your house that's been there all along that you've never gone into.
Well, now it's time to enter with two mind coaches dedicated to self-help and the thriving of all human beings.
I'm Kyra Carlin.
And I'm Robert Nelson.
Welcome to Enter the Mind.
In this week's episode, we'll be talking about food. Before we get to that, Kyra, how's it going?
I had a super rough start this morning, but I'm feeling a lot better. And Mudwater just mentioned me in their story. So yeah.
What is Mudwater?
It's coffee, but it's made out of like a whole bunch of different mushrooms. And it's got like 1/7 the caffeine of regular coffee. And I made a little picture and I tagged them in it, and they mentioned me in their story. So
That's dope. Your
how are you?
The Try Tragedy account?
Yes.
Gotcha.
It's exciting.
Well, that ties into today's topic, so we should talk about that.
Right?
Yeah, let me write that down. Mudwater. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm really diving into that reality transurfing book that I talked about last week.
Yeah.
And, oh man, it is so dope. We're gonna have to do an episode on that stuff.
Yay.
Because I'm very, very excited. That's the crux of what I was hoping to learn when I studied psychology in college, right? I wanted to learn real stuff. I wanted to master my mind. I wanted to master reality. And the way that this book teaches you to connect to these alternate realities or alternative realities, parallel realities, if you will, that already exist. It's holy cow. If you can imagine, when you plug in your cell phone to an outlet to charge your cell phone, right? What if you could plug your soul in to this parallel reality and charge it up so much that you're living at level 100? That's what I'm talking about. So, upcoming episode. Let's put it on the list.
Absolutely. And you're gonna have to send me a message of the book, because I might as well dive into it myself.
Yeah, hell yeah. It's called Reality Transurfing, but I'll send you a link.
Okay.
All right, so let's get to today's topic. The reason I wanted to talk about food is, as you know, I'm trying this new vegan diet. Perhaps your habits are rubbing off on me, but so how many years have you been vegan for?
This upcoming April, I'm pretty sure it'll be 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what has your journey been like?
Oh my God, it's been amazing. I swear to you, like once I stopped eating like meat and like dairy and like fish and everything, like I legitimately, like my eyes got brighter, my skin got brighter. It was like something was like, when like you're removing like heavy metals from like food or something like that. I feel like that's like what it felt like. Like everything was removed like from my soul. Like my soul got lighter. It was really, really a cool experience. So cool, in fact, that I most likely would never go like revert back to eating meat or dairy or anything. It was just beautiful.
So I've always dabbled in the vegan stuff, try it for a couple days, blah, blah, blah. How long did it take you before you started noticing those changes?
I'm trying to think. Honestly, maybe about like 2 weeks, I saw like the first kind of like brightness in my eyes and like, I guess like a lighter soul. But I don't think it was until about like 3 to like 6 months that like I legit, like I was like, wow, my skin's brighter, like I feel great. Like I just probably 6 months.
I gotcha. Yeah, I always hear these like miracle stories of there's this guy that I follow. His name is Mike Wolf. He's a real estate guy and he's very, very successful. I went to one of his trainings in Texas one time, but he's vegan now and he's been vegan for many years. And he was telling us about all the health problems he had prior to it. And once he went vegan, like all those health problems went away. And I'm talking like serious health problems, you know. And I've heard that from other people too, or I've seen like big meat eaters, you know, suffering from like gout and stuff where they, you know, they can't even walk and it just gets so bad. So it's crazy to think that food can have so much of an influence, you know what I mean? But that's why I'm experimenting. I'm trying this stuff out. And here's my question is, if you have like one meal of meat in the week, does that ruin all of the benefits? Or is it more of like directly proportional where like if you decrease your meat consumption, you will get benefits? Or is it like an all or nothing thing where it's like, if you eat just one meal of meat, everything goes out the window? I don't know how it works.
I definitely wouldn't say that, because I feel like that's like saying, you know, I don't like to eat gluten much, and I don't like to drink soda much, but like I'll drink soda if like I'm drinking, right? So like I feel like that kind of mindset, like all or nothing thing, that's like me eating gluten and then having a Bacardi and Coke while I'm out, and then like the next day I'm like, well, there's no point in eating healthy because I ate like shit. You know, so there's no point in continuing it. I might as well just eat some more gluten, throw in a bag of chips, you know. I definitely don't think that if you're eating one meal of meat, you know, a week or something like that, I definitely think that all the rest of those 6 days that you were eating healthy, it's still going to have a great benefit on you. You know, don't kill yourself because you're because you ate one meal of meat. You know, it's definitely still going to have benefits, I think.
Right. Yeah, one of the benefits that I was looking for when I did this meal, I'm doing a meal delivery service, right? So
Yeah.
this company, which I think caters heavily towards the fitness population, they're called Trifecta, and I think that's a reference to the 3 macronutrients: protein, carbs, and fat. So that, you know, so they kind of like, you can order meals that match the exact ratios that you want of carbs, protein, and fat. But it's a side note. So they have these different meal plans. One is like a clean eating, so like grass-fed meat and like, you know, all this right, clean stuff. And then there's a vegetarian meal that has fish or something, and then there's a vegan meal plan. So this week I chose the vegan one. So they sent me 10 prepared dishes. And actually one of the benefits, the non-nutritional benefits that I was looking for, is that I just don't like it in the middle of the day when I have so much momentum with my work and what I'm doing productively, that then I realize, oh crap, I don't have anything to eat for lunch. And then I start, you know, looking, I pull up DoorDash on my phone and I'm like, what do I want to eat? Do I want this? Do I want that? And it kills all my momentum, because I have to make this decision in the middle of the day about you know, what I'm going to eat. And then I'm all picky about, you know, well, I want something healthy, but I also want it to taste good and this and that. And it turns into this 20-minute endeavor of like, of trying to decide what I want to eat. So this meal prep thing that solves that problem for me, because it's already pre-made. You just put it in the microwave and boom, it's ready to go. So so aside from the whole nutritious aspect. I was looking to eliminate the decision fatigue of like just trying to decide on a daily basis what to eat. But I don't know. Did you ever, when you started doing the vegan thing, did it cause any other changes in your body? Because what I noticed, like when I try to eat more fiber or like vegetables, it like causes a lot of bloating. You know what I mean? And it's like, did anything happen? Like, I don't know. I don't want to say side effects, but what were the biggest drawbacks, if any, when you started your vegan thing? Were there challenges that you encountered? Was there anything unexpected that you had to come up with a solution for?
There would probably only be two things. And the first thing would be, just that like people don't know how to handle me being vegan. So like when like they'll say like I'll go out to dinner with them and then they'll be like, oh, I'm sure they have a salad for you, like kind of like make a joke. And I'm like, funny, but like
The social
like,
aspect.
yeah, like they don't know how to like handle it. Like they don't know whether they should cheer me on because they don't agree with it. And I think that's definitely one of the biggest things, because me, like, I don't have problem with people eating meat. If somebody's like, I'm like, what did you have for lunch? They're like, oh, I had a T-bone steak with some mashed potatoes and some mac and cheese. I'm like, yes, love it. I'm so happy for you and your meal. Like me, I don't like that, but I'm happy for you, and like, I feel like people who eat meat don't have that same energy towards me. Like they're not going to be like, yeah, I love that. They're going to be like, great. I'd rather have chicken, but and I'm like, okay, cool. So I think that that's probably one of the biggest drawbacks. And then another drawback, but not really a drawback, I guess it's more of a benefit that I noticed when I went vegan, is that you have to, so I was doing the Arbonne cleanse, the 30 days to healthy living, and we can't have like a whole bunch of fucking shit. So I would be looking at the ingredients, and when you look at the ingredients, you don't actually notice how much bullshit they put in our fucking food. And like ever since then, I always look at the ingredients and what I'm eating just to ensure that I'm not like digesting a fuck ton of corn syrup or high fructose corn syrup or loads of sugar and things like that. So I think that the first one is more of like the drawback, and the second one is more of like a beneficial thing. But other than that, honestly, I've had like no drawbacks, unless I'm at a friend's house and say like that friend lives far away. I have to bring food because they most likely won't have anything for me. So it's either I order out every time I'm at my friend's house, or I bring my own food. So yeah, that's about it. But I'm really curious, because like, how do you feel since you've been eating your vegan foods?
You mean in terms of like drawbacks?
Nope. Just, I mean, drawbacks or like good things. Like since you've had like your vegan meal prep, like how do you feel? Is there anything exciting? Has anything shifted in your mind?
I would say that it's so funny. You're dancing. You're dancing with your hoodie strings. I want to cue the music. Yeah. I think I just noticed it says Jesus is King on your hoodie.
Yeah, I love this hoodie.
Right on. So what was I going to say? Oh, the main thing is, yeah, because we got to tie it back to the mind, right? I mean, after all, this is the Enter the Mind podcast. What are we doing? Talking about food and nutrition and vegan stuff. Well, one thing I notice about my mind, and this whole podcast, it is about noticing your mind, right? And I like to use the analogy of when you walk your dog, your mind is like the dog, right? It could sometimes be in front of you, pulling you on the leash, like, right? Your mind is just going nuts with anxiety and it's like pulling you. Your mind could be depressed, and that could be like your dog sitting on the sidewalk, not wanting to go on a walk with you. And you're like, come on, let's go.
You are a legend.
Or your mind could be very obedient to you, walking side by side, and you're slightly ahead. And that's the proper way, I think. The dog sees you as the leader, the pack leader, to borrow verbiage from Caesar Milan. But so the point is, a point that I want to make is that when I started the meal prep thing, right? The vegan meal prep, I think the big payoff for me was the mental payoff of I took action towards improving my life. I took one small action that was significant, and it was a reality that I brought in to myself. I overcame a self-limiting belief, which is, oh, meal prep is too expensive for me, right? And that's a belief that you're more likely to have, I think, if you come from maybe like a thrifty family, which I do, a family that cuts coupons and tries to save every penny and everything. They would never pay for someone else to prepare food for them, right? They would want to save the $10 or whatever by spending 3 hours on a Sunday preparing the meals themselves, right? But what is my perspective on life and personal growth? Well, it's that you can be more than your family trained you to be. You can be as big as you want to be as a person. You can reach these other levels. You can take steps up the staircase, as far as you want to go. And one of those steps for me was kind of stepping into this whole vegan world and the world of meal prep and meal delivery, right? Something that to take that action causes some tension with your identity, because I can attest to it. Like when I was on the website and signing up for it, internally, my psychology, so many objections popped up. So many objections from my old identity, or I should say my current, right? The identity that I had at the time, because that identity did not want to die. It wanted to survive. And it was saying, don't do this. It's too expensive, right? What if they deliver it and then someone steals the package? What if this, like all of these silly, I know you're laughing because it's silly, right? Oh, it's too expensive. You're not going to like the flavor, right? All of these silly objections that if I had listened to them, I would have held myself back. I would have been less. I would have been lesser as a person had I listened to those voices. But I understand that those voices are weak voices. And I say, get the hell out of my room to those voices, because this is my castle here. This is my mind. I run the show. And so now I have vegan meal delivery service.
That's exciting. That's really exciting to hear. I've been wanting to get into the meal prep service as well, but I'm just not sure, because it might be a little too pricey for me right now. But then sometimes when I think about it, I haven't ever actually done the math, because I spend a lot of money on groceries. I love groceries. I love my food. I love buying my food. So I'm always spending money on my groceries. And, if I did the math, I'd sure probably come out to something close to the meal prep. So, maybe I'll try that. But what I wanted to bring up was, because we're talking about the way food has an effect on our minds. So, and our bodies, and just overall, our health, so this morning I had, horrible cramps. I could barely breathe, honestly. And I looked it up, and it said like to eat like a bunch of apples and like eat some nuts and seeds and eat leafy greens, because when you bleed you lose iron and you need like magnesium or manganese or one of those. And so I went to the store and I got some apples, and I had an apple this morning. I feel great, and then the mud water, you can continue to drink coffee in the morning, but it's really horrible for your stomach. It's extremely harsh on your stomach. And I know that like some people say that coffee can be good for you, which it can. I'm sure it has its benefits, but not in the morning, clearly, because it's chewing up the stomach lining in your stomach because it's too harsh for your stomach in the morning. And that's the first thing that probably like 80% of people in the entire universe, drink coffee in the morning. So mud water, it has all of these amazing things in it. It improves your cognitive function. It fights inflammation. It does all these things. So not only can you have a cup of coffee in the morning with nothing in your stomach, but it's going to benefit you. So if you just like make like these small changes, like you did, you got your meal service prep, and even though like it's not all vegan, it doesn't even matter because you're still taking that step to at least be a little bit healthier. And when you do these things, it not only makes you feel better because you kind of like have your own back here. Like you're kind of like, all right, well, I have my own back. I'm going to do this for myself. So not only does that make you feel good, but when you have those really good foods in your body, it almost charges up your brain. It just makes you happier. Like it makes you happier because your body feels better. And when your body feels better, you're more prone to thoughts that are happy. And when you don't feel good, it's like when I eat like way too much, like when I eat like a fuck ton, which is actually really rare. I used to have that problem a lot, but like if I just eat like a whole fuck ton of food, and say it happens to be like a vegan junk food and it's like a chili cheeseburger, and then I got mac and cheese on the side, and then I got chili cheese fries on the side, and like after I eat that, chances are I'm probably going to pay for it, and I'm going to be like, I feel like shit, I shouldn't have eaten that, right? But like say like I have like a really nice salad with a whole bunch of like stuff in it, I may not be completely fulfilled because I totally would have rather had a chili cheeseburger, but that eating that salad is going to make my body feel good, and it's going to make my mind clear enough so that I can think clearly and have happy thoughts. And I think that that's the main thing, because once you get that momentum of happy thoughts and the body feeling good, and then happy thoughts and the body feeling good, and happy thoughts and the body feeling good, and it's all just like recycling and like this little thing, then everything that comes out is going to be gold. Because you eat shit, you produce shit. You eat gold, you produce gold. Ain't nothing else to it.
Yeah, I've been having this one vegan burrito at a cafe here in San Jose, and the breakfast burrito, it has black beans, quinoa, like tomatoes, spinach, right? And what I noticed when I ate it, I remember one specific day where that was my breakfast, and I just had this 2-hour period at work where I was so focused and my body felt so like neutral or at peace. In contrast to that sort of a food coma or that sugar crash that I would have gotten had I eaten like pancakes or French toast or something like. And so there's so many possible explanations for that. It could be, maybe it's like a gluten thing, maybe it's the sugar content, maybe it's the vitamins, maybe it's the fiber, I don't know. But the point is that when I ate that vegan burrito, my body felt like very steady. And that's, I know for sure that there's this thing called glycemic index with that vegan burrito. The glycemic index is, I would guess, is low, because that's what I understand about glycemic index, is that It's a food's tendency to spike your blood sugar. So if you eat some junk food, like a Snickers bar, and well, I can't say Snickers because now the Snickers company is going to be like, boo, podcast. You know, if you eat a candy bar, and it spikes your blood sugar, right? The blood sugar then crashes, and then that crash is like the lethargy you feel, like you know. I
Mm-hmm.
hate that feeling, you know, it's so bad. But what I notice is when I eat healthier foods, like especially like vegan meals, is the 2 hours after eating, I feel way more steady. Do you feel that too?
I definitely do. And literally, what you just said, I once saw this post on Instagram, and it was like, you're all addicted to legal drugs. And it was like McDonald's, and it was candy bars and shit. And it's so fucking true. Like, it's so true. Like, when you take Molly, like the next day, like you're fucking glum. You're like, what is life? Because the Molly takes all of your serotonin and it puts it in this big ass ball, so you're feeling so fucking amazing. But the fact of it is that it takes everything in your body, every cell of serotonin, and it uses it and burns it all up in that one session. So the next day you don't have anything because it was all burned up. You took something that accumulated it all and then burned it up, and then that's why you don't, feel good the next day. And same goes for acid, and same goes for I don't know, ecstasy, same goes for all the other drugs, right? But same goes for candy bars and fucking McDonald's. You're eating a McDonald's burger, or four, because Lord knows I used to be able to do that, and you eat four of them motherfuckers and you're feeling great. You're like, oh God, I feel amazing. Oh, this is so good, right? And then 20 minutes later, honestly, you could even crash 20 minutes later, right? Or you can crash that night and you just don't feel like doing anything, because what that food did is accumulate all of your serotonin into one ball, burn it all up, and then you feel lethargic after. You feel dead. You don't have any serotonin left, because the foods that you're eating are taking it all, accumulating it, and burning it all up, the same as drugs do.
Wow.
I'm not saying it's not okay to enjoy a Snickers. Like, I love chocolate. I'm not saying that I don't sit sometimes and eat an entire tub of ice cream in one sitting, but it's not something that I do frequently, and it's something that I try to hold myself back from, because I know that it doesn't make me feel good. It's like a trick of the mind. I just think that
Yeah.
we've all been conditioned that ice cream is supposed to make you feel better, but it truly doesn't.
It's a short term gratification. It feels good for like the first 30 seconds, and then and then after.
The first 30 seconds that you finish the whole tub, and you're like, oh, I don't think I feel better anymore. Because then you got all this sugar in you, and it's weighing you down, and you're like, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. And then you feel most likely even shittier than you did before you ate the whole tub of ice cream.
Well, what's funny is I remember this one time where I was with some friends and I got these French fries from a fast food restaurant, right? And when you taste that first fry, it's like so crispy and just hot out of the oil, and it's got the salt on it, and you take a bite, and it's just like, oh, it's like that dopamine or serotonin rush, and you're like, oh man, I'm in heaven, right?
Yeah.
But what I noticed is that with the second fry, the amount of pleasure that I got from it was only a percentage. It was a fraction of the pleasure that I got from the first French fry. And the same for the third and the fourth and the fifth. So after about five, I stopped eating them. And obviously I had a whole pack left that I only had 5 fries out of this big, amount. And my friend said, well, why did you stop eating your fries? And I said, because of diminishing returns. I said, I said, I said, here's the Pareto principle applied to food. I said, I ate 20% of the fries and I got 80% of the dopamine spike.
Oh,
I ate, the first 5 French fries are responsible for 99% of the pleasure, right? So I said, I'm done. I don't need the rest. I don't need the other 25 French fries in the package. I only need the first 5. That gives me nearly 100% of the benefit. But it's true, because after that 5th French fry and you keep eating them, and it's like, what is this even doing for me? It's like, but it's like you say, it's like drugs, where you need more of it or something, because your body's reaction to it becomes dulled, and then you need more of the drug or something to achieve an equal effect.
And then what you realize when you take more of that, or you're doing more of it, nothing really changes, and the return keeps getting less and less. It's like when you're doing coke, right? And you take that first line and you're like, yes.
That was the funniest impression I've ever seen of someone doing coke.
And and when you take that first thing, it'll probably last you maybe an hour. You're like, oh my God, this is great. Fucking love this. Like, and then like in that next hour, after the hour is up, you do some more, right? And then next thing you know, 30 minutes, you want some more. And then next thing you know, 20 minutes goes by and you want some more. Then it's like you're going to the bathroom every 5 minutes because you want some fucking more, because it's not doing enough for you. And I wonder if that's can be linked to our minds and self-sabotage and like self-pain. Like, I wonder if food, like bad foods that are bad for us, that are burning up all of our serotonin and stuff, I wonder if that same pattern can follow into our thoughts, to where we like want to feel bad, like, so like we're addicted to feeling bad because it's something that's familiar and it's something that we know. So it's like when you're eating a candy bar and that candy bar isn't enough, so you have to get another one, right? That can be transferred to a thought, and it's like, well, I've had some pain in my life, but that pain isn't enough, so I'm going to go out and get some more because it ain't enough. It's not hurting me enough, sort of thing. So I wonder if that can be translated to that. And I honestly think that it can, because when I eat extremely healthy, I feel like, have you seen Jennifer's Body?
I assume it's a movie rather than your friend.
Yeah. Have you seen Jennifer's Body anywhere? But in the middle of a podcast. But yeah, so it's a movie and she eats men. And if she doesn't,
men like male people.
Yep, she loves them. That's how she lives. She's like a demon.
Does she? Oh, She's a demon. So it's like it's a fiction fantasy.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So she eats them, and then she's like full, and she's beautiful, she's luscious, and she's glowing. But when she doesn't eat the men, she's dull and she's tired and she's got bags and everything, right? So it's like, I feel like when I eat really, really healthy, like no gluten, and I stick to greens, and I just make these incredibly healthy meals for myself, I'm like full. I'm like, whew, nothing can touch me right now because I feel fucking good. I feel fucking good. And when I feel fucking good, it's almost like it opens doorways in my mind for me to maneuver through what I'm trying to get done in my life, and like the goals that I want to move through in my life. It helps me push towards that, I guess.
Yeah, totally. I think that yeah, you said it very well. It's such a fuel for mind, for I like the word that you used, maneuvering, maneuvering through life. It's like navigating, and like, because that's what we have to do. We have to mentally, we have to be agile. We have to be flexible. When problems come up, we have to come up with solutions. We have to be, the physical corollary would be we have to have agility, right? So it's like we have to have mental agility. And yeah, it's important. It's important to have that. It's yeah, I think no doubt there's a relationship, but then that begs the question of why do so few people seem to eat healthy or eat well? And I think the answer would be that it's more of a delay of gratification thing, because you know, the fat and the sugar is, as we discussed, it's sort of like a pleasure rush in the moment. And if you are willing to forego that and go eat something that may be low in sugar and maybe low in fat, but high in fiber and vegetables or something, you might miss out on that momentary pleasure rush. But I think that it would be more than made up for with the hours of productivity and clear thinking and just feeling of cleanness in your body that lasts for hours, right?
Yes.
So I think it's an issue of, you know, short-term pleasure versus more elongated long-term pleasure.
Agreed. And not only that, but I think it's fucking amazing, because I truthfully think that it can carry on into other things in our fucking lives, right? Because it's like, say, I remember my first boyfriend in high school. I was a lunatic. So, you know, if he ever listens to this, he's probably gonna be like, finally, she admits it, you know, but I was a lunatic. I couldn't wait for anything. Like I wanted that instant gratification. So like, say I was just really upset with him, and like I texted him, I'm like, I don't talk to me. Like I need some time to think. I would text him, I swear to you, sometimes even 10 minutes later. And it'd be like, baby, I miss you, you know? So like that's that instant gratification, because I didn't want to wait in that uncomfortable thing to get the reward. I wanted that instant gratification. I needed that pleasure rush of being connected with him again, you know? So I think that when you really train yourself to say fuck you to the pleasure rush and really just allow yourself to feel through those really uncomfortable fucking feelings, then you can get that reward at the end, and it's so much more rewarding, and you like yourself so much more. And I feel like the people with the food, you know, it's like somebody who's, I don't know, pretty big in weight, you know, pretty big in weight, they don't want to eat a salad for one day, because if they do, they're going to understand how much farther they have to go, and that's too much pain on them. So they just decide to say, fuck it all. You know, it's all or nothing, and I'm just going to keep continuing on this path. But like, if the people who, you know, want to really get their minds right and get their bodies right and change their lives, you know, this could be them. You know, this is the one path where they just inhale junk all day long. And that's food, that's television, that's thoughts, that's conversations with people. That's their path with junk, right? But say they made like a 0.1% change and decided to, I don't know, have a salad for lunch 2 days a week. You know, that's that path. But then maybe, you know, they'd veer over here, right? Okay. And then over time, they decided not to watch, I don't know, that show. Then they'd veer over here, you know. Then over time, they decide, maybe I'll have, maybe I'll take a walk around the block today, just around the block, 10 minutes, you know. Then they veer over here. And eventually it just keeps on veering and keeps on veering, because those 0.1% changes that you made have already planted seeds in your brain. And if you just stick to those really small things, like, you are going to shift right over here to that spot where you are really fucking rewarding yourself. And for some people, it's, you know, okay, so you're extremely overweight, nearly obese, and you're fucking scared to change your life. You're scared to see how shitty and horrible your mind is and your life is, right? But if you take things one by one and little by little, that huge change that you're thinking of in your head doesn't happen so quickly, and your brain doesn't go into anxiety and panic attack mode. It will gradually shift, and your brain will gradually clockwork into a new you, to where in the next 5 years you look back and you're like, wow, I'm so happy that I took that 0.1% chance and didn't try and quit it cold turkey, because I realized that it's a long-term thing and I'm not going to change overnight, you know?
Yeah, I like how you broke it down into smaller steps.
Thanks.
And I think that's so key. And it reminds me of the metaphor that I used earlier of the mind being your pet dog, that you have to train the dog if you want to follow you, because you can't train a dog by, you know, trying to make them do some huge giant trick, you know, just out of nowhere. Let's say you can't train them to do jump, twirl, roll over, and all that stuff, right? But if you break it down into steps and you have them first do the rollover, give them a treat, you teach the dog how to do the rollover. But then if they got to do the rollover and the jump, right, then you start training the jump, and you just break it down into these small pieces. Because yeah, you can't take a brand new little dog and teach it like this giant trick, right? So yeah, I think it really reinforces this idea that our mind is something that we have to train, and that it's not just like this. It doesn't start out as obedient, and the mind does not start out with like, oh, I hate sugars and fats, and I'm going for the long-term gratification and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't start out like that. It starts out the opposite. Give me sugar, give me fat. I want it now, right? That's the starting point until you train it, right? So the last remark I'll make for today, since we're approaching our time limit, is people go to these dog shows, right? And then they have their dogs do all these tricks, and the judges, you know, give them points or whatever. What if everyone on the planet, what if their minds, the mind of every single person, participated in a competition to see whose mind was the fittest, whose mind was the sharpest? I would like to see the outcome of that competition. I would like to see who scores in first place, and for that person, what does their mind look like? And that is the goal that I want to get to. Closing thoughts from
That's cool.
Yeah.
Closing thoughts from me are, number one, I love your dog analogy. I think that that's really, really good, and it makes it really, really makes it really, really easy for the people listening to understand. And another thing is, you know, for our listeners, of course, thank you so much for tuning in. And, you know, maybe try eating like an apple for breakfast at least like one day a week, you know, or you know, just make that little shift, because next thing you know, you're going to veer onto a whole new path, and, you know, you don't have to change all in one night. And, you know, second of all, you can follow me on Instagram at Try Tragedy. I'm doing a 50% off beta offer right now. So go and check me out on there.
Yeah. You post a lot also on Instagram, so people
Thanks.
should definitely follow you. My Instagram is existence first, all one word. And yeah, so be in touch with us, because as we go into further episodes, we can kind of cater this towards what people need most and what would benefit them. So until next week, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.